Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's continue the course. So we are working with the Python for data science and is offered by the IBM cognitive class. And today we are working with the lab functions, which is a part of module 3, and module 3 is Python programming fundamentals. So in this module, first of all, we learned about the conditions and branching. Secondly, we went through the loops and branching, a for loop and while loop, and then use the branching if else within the loop. And then today we will be covering functions, and after today's lecture, the next week lecture will be on object classes, objects and classes. So when you will click the lab, a second tab will be open, and this kind of tab will be there, and when you click on start the lab, then it will direct you to the virtual lab offered by the Python IBM cognitive classroom. So meanwhile, I told you guys that you can also run the same code in the Jupyter. So if you like, you will run Jupyter. It is a part of Anaconda software which we have installed already, and if you want to know more about the Anaconda, you can search online. So if you go to this Jupyter, it will open a tab in the Chrome, and from there you can access different icons. So let's move on to the desktops. And desktop, I have Python data science folder. You can make one folder for yourself as well. Here I am usually working for this class in Python basics, and the recent file I worked on was classes and objects, and also I worked yes, classes and objects was the last file I worked on. Okay, let's open this thing, classes and object. Okay, here. So this is basically the code I worked on last time. So, and before that I also would like to check this thing as well. Running a day. Okay, week 1 lectures. So few of the basic codes are there as well. So this is Python object class. So once you open the lab, this lab tells you about functions in the Python. So this what we are going to study today: table of contents function. What is a function? What are the variables that are essential for the functions? And functions make things simple. How they make things simple, we will study today. Then there are a lot of predefined functions as well. For example, we use a lot of functions including sum, average, and so many operations like division, and the sorting of the arrays. These are the built-in functions. Then we will use the if-else statements and loops within a function, and I will show you a couple of examples. And then setting default argument values in your custom functions, then global variables, scope of a variable or local variable, and quiz on the loops. So what is a function? Function is a reusable block of code which performs operation specified in the function. They let you break down tasks and allow you to reuse your code in the different programs. So simply you make a specific kind of program. Let's suppose you want to add two numbers. You will make a function with a proper name, and you can reuse it like a billion of times or indefinite period of times wherever you need it. So there are predefined functions already built in the Python, and there are user defined functions which we will be going to develop today, which is a topic. So what is function and its definition? So before that, let's directly jump into the function and see how it works, and then we will cover each and every element of the statement here. So let's say the function always start with a define or def. First function example: add 1 to a and store a or store as b. So the output is stored as b, and you have to add 1 to a. So define or def space, this is the name of the function, which is add. So let me zoom in. So here, if you could see, this is add a. So add and parenthesis a. So add is the name of the function and a is the parameter, and then semicolon. From the semicolon, as you enter it, it will direct you to the second line, but with the indent. It means that now you are working under the function. So now we will define another variable. So what is the a? A is the input parameter. A is the input parameter of the function. and then b is equals to a plus 1. B is equals to a plus 1, which is the command we want to execute within a function, and then we will say print a. If you add 1, then b. So if for example I give it 1 here, and then b will be 1 plus 1 equal to 2, then it will print a, which is 1, comma, if you add 1 it will be b, which is 2, return b. See, so you define a function and it just got it into the memory or like server that okay, you have already defined the function and you can use it later in your code, so later for your execution purposes. So how it works: function blocks begin with define followed by a function name and parenthesis. This is define, add is the name, and a is the input parameter. There are input parameters or arguments that should be placed within these parameters. So here we have placed a as an input parameter. You can also define parameters inside the parenthesis, so you can also define different parameters inside a, but that is the higher concept we will see later in the lecture. Then there is body within every function that starts with a colon and is indented. So this is the body of the function. It starts after this colon and it is always indented. You can also place documentation before the body, so you can place here documentation before the body as well to show that what the function does. So here they have already placed the documentation over here. Then the statement return exits a function, optionally passing back a value. So it is very common that you should place return b. Return b will be that you whatever the value of a, you will return that, or the function will retain that. If you don't return the value b, it will print out none, or there will be nothing in the memory of the function or as output of the function. So return is very important. So see, so also pictorially the figure below illustrates the terminology. Define is the keyword. You will always have to use define def for your function. This is the name of the function. You can put your name, or you can add name. Add is placed here. So but you remember that your name and everything should be making some sense. So if a new programmer is coming and seeing a define function and add, he or she will directly know that this is going to be some addition method used inside the function, and this is the parameter a is used. Then documentation, you can place documentation like this: add 1 to a, this is documentation. Then b is equals to a plus 1, this is a method we have used, b is equals to a plus 1. Then print this thing, this is the body of the function after the parenthesis, and then add 1. Okay, so this will add 1 basically. Add and a is equals to 1. See, add a is equals to 1 will be, so you will simply put add 1 and it will return me some value. For example, we can obtain help about the function. Let's say help and help function, add in module add a. Now call add 1. So here we place like add 1. So what will be the output? A will be 1 here. So b is equals to a plus 1, which is 1 plus 1, which is equals to 2. Print this thing and see, I will execute it. 1, if you add 1, then b value is 2 here, and it will print out the value return b. See, in the last we have return b, so it has returned the value of 2. Now add 2 instead of 1, add 2. If you want to add 1, then it is 3. Okay, so also a very good way to visualize the function is, I always recommend as a programming student, I myself use this a lot. So if you do this thing and you say add, I called the function and I said add, let's suppose 3. Now the value of a will be 3. So visualize next. Look at the arrow, red arrow over here, next. So whenever you define a function, it doesn't go inside the function directly, rather it goes to the next step. So here the function is being called add. So now as the function is called, now this will go to the function and execute the body, next step. So here define add a. So whatever inside the parameter is, it has taken as a. So a is now 3. So you see a is 3. Next step, b is equals to a plus 1, 3 plus 1, which is equals to 4. See, b is equals to 4. Return print a was 3. If you add 1, then it will be 4. So it's print out here. Then return b. So what's the value of b, which is 4? The function will return 4, return value 4, and completes. Okay. Okay, so let's move forward.